Cliff Richard, now 85, has lived a life of intense public scrutiny, driven by fame that emerged in the late 1950s when he was still a teenager. With his good looks, undeniable charm, and musical talent, Cliff quickly became a symbol of hope and rebellion in post-war Britain. From the moment he stepped into the spotlight, he became the face of British pop, instantly adored by fans and admired for his voice. Yet behind the success, fame arrived too soon for him, and it was not without its challenges. Still living at home with his parents, he was thrust into a whirlwind of public attention and expectations that overwhelmed him. While others may have reveled in the glamour, Cliff felt the pressure, understanding early on that the price of fame was often the loss of privacy and control. The price of fame and self-control. Despite the overwhelming success, Cliff Richard maintained a high level of discipline, knowing that in order to preserve his sense of self, he had to control the way the world saw him. He lived by a strict code, avoiding scandal and carefully considering every interview and public appearance. Fame brought not only the adoration of fans but also the weight of constant scrutiny. He was expected to be a perfect image, but underneath, there was a man who longed for something simpler, something more genuine. Instead of indulging in the fleeting joys of fame, he chose to guard his privacy fiercely, using music as an escape and discipline as a shield. In this controlled existence, his work became his focus, while his personal life remained a mystery to the public. The struggle between love and fame. Cliff's devotion to his career and his faith kept him at a distance from romantic relationships. His first serious relationship came with Delia Wicks, a dancer who had loved him even before he became a star. For a brief time, they imagined a life together, but the relentless schedule of touring, filming, and performing pulled him away. The distance between them grew, and eventually, Delia's letter revealed the true cost of their love. She had loved him, but couldn't wait for a man who loved his work more than her. It was a heartbreaking farewell, yet one that Cliff kept close as a reminder of what his career had taken from him. It was not just a career that consumed him, but the demands of being constantly in the public eye, making it impossible for him to build a personal connection that might have lasted. Love as a public performance. While Cliff Richard's career soared, the world became fascinated with his private life, or rather, the absence of it. Fans, fascinated by his status as an eligible bachelor, speculated endlessly about his love life. Yet, Cliff remained silent. As his fame grew, he continued to uphold a carefully curated image of the perfect pop star. However, the more fame consumed him, the more distant he became from forming lasting romantic relationships. He was charming, thoughtful, and kind, but he kept everyone at arm's length. To Cliff, love was not something to be found on the front pages of magazines or in the spotlight. It was a private, personal matter. By the time he entered his late 20s, his views on marriage had shifted. He believed that marriage required a level of commitment that his lifestyle could never support, and he wasn't willing to offer less than the best to a potential partner. The power of a deep, non-romantic connection. The connection between Cliff and his close friend was one of profound respect and emotional intimacy, without the pressures of romance or marriage. It became a bond that was built on shared values, mutual understanding, and a commitment to faith. Despite the years of speculation from the media, Cliff was resolute in his belief that companionship did not need to fit a conventional mold to be meaningful. Theirs was a love of the highest form, pure and without the need for public validation. As their friendship endured the passing years, it became an anchor in Cliff's life. When his friend faced personal challenges, he stood by her, showing loyalty and devotion in the quietest of ways. This friendship demonstrated that love could be sustained without expectations and that true companionship didn't require labels to be real. Cliff's relationship with faith and music. Cliff Richard's commitment to his faith defined not only his personal life, but also his professional career. In 1966, at the height of his fame, he made a life-changing decision to dedicate himself to Christianity. This was not a fleeting phase, but a lifelong commitment that he took seriously. He began reading scripture daily, praying for guidance, and viewing his music career as a way to serve rather than simply to entertain. His faith provided him with the clarity to understand the responsibilities of his fame and helped him navigate the pressures that came with being a public figure. As his career flourished, Cliff remained grounded in his belief, and this sense of purpose shaped his choices. He believed that living with integrity was the most important thing, even if it meant rejecting conventional norms like marriage. Silence as strength. The silence surrounding Cliff Richard's private life became a defining feature of his persona. While other celebrities reveled in the drama of public life, Cliff chose to remain quiet, refusing to explain or justify his choices. The more the tabloids speculated, the more Cliff withdrew from the public's prying eyes. He never saw the need to defend himself against rumors or misconceptions. Instead, he continued to live his life on his terms, focused on his faith and music. Cliff's decision to remain silent wasn't about avoiding attention. It was about preserving his peace. He believed that the best way to counter rumors was not to react, but to simply outlast them. This quiet strength allowed him to maintain his integrity in an industry known for its sensationalism. Living with purpose, not public approval. As the years passed, the public's fascination with Cliff Richard's personal life only grew, but he remained unaffected by it. He focused on what mattered to him: faith, music, and the relationships that sustained him. He never felt the need to explain his choices or seek approval from the outside world. The tabloids, starved for answers, continued to speculate about his private life, but Cliff remained unwavering in his belief that truth didn't need to be defended. His life was not about pleasing others or conforming to public expectations. It was about living authentically and with purpose. The fact that he never married became just another part of the narrative, one that didn't define him or his worth. In the end, Cliff Richard's strength lay in his ability to live his truth without seeking validation from others, creating a chosen family. Though Cliff Richard never married, he was far from alone. Over the years, he built a close-knit circle of friends who became his chosen family. These relationships were based on mutual respect, shared values, and a deep understanding of the demands of fame. His manager, Bill Lame, was one of the most significant figures in his life, having stood by Cliff for over 30 years. Their bond was one of trust, faith, and shared mission. Cliff's friendships with fellow musicians and colleagues were equally deep. He took the time to nurture these relationships, remembering birthdays, sending thoughtful notes, and offering support to those he worked with. These friendships provided the stability and emotional connection that a traditional family might have offered, proving that love and loyalty can exist outside the confines of marriage. The legacy of a life well lived. As Cliff Richard's career continued to evolve, his life became a testament to the power of choice. He chose faith over fame, purpose over passion, and loyalty over spectacle. His commitment to his music, his faith, and his friends defined him more than any romantic relationship ever could. Cliff's story is not one of loneliness, but of a man who lived with intention, making decisions that aligned with his beliefs and values. While others may have questioned his choices, Cliff remained confident in the life he had built, one that was rich in meaning and connection. Through his music, his faith, and his friendships, Cliff Richard crafted a legacy that will be remembered long after the tabloids stop speculating.